summary of everything on the study guide. So I have a couple things we're going to do today. If we get through this and we have time, you might have a little time to work on that study guide if you did not get it done. But we need to make sure we are all prepared for this test, because tests are a big chunk of your grade in here. If we kind of break it into topics, the very first thing we were dealing with was slope. If I give you a graph, how do you find the slope? Okay, we have to pick 2 points we can tell exactly on the graph. And today, it's not just going to be one person talking. Everyone's going to participate. If we don't, then I'll just start calling on people like I did the other day. So, if I am going to count rise over run from here, we pick a point. If I start here.
Is that on this?
No, this is separate. So we're just kind of working on notebook paper. So the first one you may not write down a whole lot, but when we get through some problems. So Kale, what would I have to do?
Go down.
And how many do we
What? Yeah.
And if we go down, what kind of number is it?
Negative.
-5. And then we go
Over.
4. And double check, can -5 over 4 reduce? No. So that is my answer. All right. Nicole, if I have 2 points, how do we find slope?
Rise over run.
Okay, from a graph we do our rise over run. What formula do we use with the ordered pairs? I mean, it's essentially the same thing.
Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
Okay, so this is like my x1, y1, my x2, y2. So if I do my slope, everyone's working this one out with me. Kale, that means you too. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus -9. It seems like in general we all know how to do this, but we tend to make mistakes. So if I look at this, we have a -25 over 15. And what would -25 over 15 reduce to in lowest form? Who can tell me the slope of a vertical line? Undefined. Which one has a slope of 0? The horizontal. Think about rise over run. All right, D. Who can tell me, how would I find the slope if I give you the equation in standard form? Aiden?
Start by subtracting 3x.
So we have -4y equals -3x plus 8. Then what?
And then divide -4 by everything.
So y equals -3 over -4 would be a positive 3/4. 8 divided by -4 is -2. So what is my slope? 3/4. All right. Does everybody feel confident that you could find the slope of a line? Whether I give you the ordered pairs, the graphs, or the equation. Can everyone handle that? Okay. So next thing. We have equations of our lines. So we know our equation, we usually want y equals mx plus b at the end. So if I give you the graph, it's just a matter of looking at this graph and finding the m and the b. All right, who can tell me my m? tricky, isn't it? How many points do we need? 2. This one's not too bad. My M, it looks like my graph kind of got cut off. It looks like it would hit over here if I keep extending my line. So that would be a nice point. So then we would rise 1. So 1/6. What is my B, the y-intercept?
4.
So final equation would be?
Y equals 4/6x. 1.
Somebody who has not volunteered yet, tell me how I would write my equation when I give you 2 or pairs. And everybody needs to write this one down. This is something we're going to show work. You can start me out. Holden?
-14 minus 4. -6 minus 3.
Finding our slope. If you need to, you can label it. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Alright, so -14 minus 4 is -18. -6 minus 3 is -9. -18 divided by -9 gives us +2. Bailey, can you tell me where I go from here? We want the equation.
Y minus 4 equals 2 times x minus 3.
We use our point and our slope, and we're plugging into our point slope formula. If you don't know that, you need to know it before tomorrow. So now we just work this out. So y minus 4 equals 2x minus 6. Add over the 4. So y equals 2x minus 2. Is that one okay? So we can write equations of lines if we are given the graph or the points. Next thing we went into was parallel and perpendicular. So we have to know the difference here. If I want the equation of the line through the point 10, 4 and parallel to -3x minus 5y equals 6. What does it mean to be parallel? Same slope. They never cross, so the slopes are the same. Alright, can you tell me how I would find the slope of this?
No,
Oh, what? Come on.
I'll look you for that.
If it's in y equals mx plus b form, we can find our slope. So how would I get the y by itself?
Plus 3x.
So we have -5y equals 3x plus 6, and then we would divide everything by -5. So we get y equals -3/5 x minus 6/5. But all I need from that is the slope. So Riley, what was the slope of that line?
-6.
The
Oh, I mean 2 fifths.
Yeah. And we want to go through the point 10, 4. So Jetta, how do we set up the equation?
Y equals, or y minus 4 equals -3/5 x minus 10.
So if we distribute, we have a -3/5 x. -3/5 times -10 is a +6. Head over the 4. So -3/5 x plus 10. All right. Is that one okay? Esther, if I say perpendicular, what does that mean? Sorry, I caught you in the middle of writing. What does it mean if they're perpendicular? Let's do about this. The opposites. So I need to find my slope here. What would we do? Okay. So y equals negative 3x plus 9. So Kale, what is the slope of this line currently?
Negative x over 1.
Mm-hmm. We can really just ignore the x and just say it's negative 3 over 1. So if I want to be perpendicular, what would it become? Positive 1 over 3. We flip it and change the sign. And then we have our point, 3, negative 8. So our equation, y minus negative 8 equals 1/3 times x minus 3. So 5 plus 8 equals 1/3 x minus 1. Subtract our 8. So y is 1/3 x minus 9. Okay, so do we know parallel and perpendicular? Okay, let's talk about drawing a graph. So if I said y equals negative 3/4 x plus 2, how do we graph it? What point do we plot first?
Start on the x-intercept and go up to.
Okay, we start at our y-intercept of 2. And then from there, what do we do?
Down 3 over.
Right, it was a negative 3/4, so down 3 over 4. Or you could have gone up 3, backwards 4. And then make sure you are connecting with a line and it doesn't just stop, it keeps going, so extend your line on. Alright, B, if I am going to graph this one, then Bailey, what would I do first?
Plus 1.
Mm-hmm. So we have 2y equals 4x plus 10. Nicole, what next? Divide everything by 2. So y equals 2x plus 5. So Julius, how do we graph that?
You go up 5.
And then
Over 2.
this is like a 2 over 1, so up 2 over 1. Or you could go down 2 and backwards. C. If I said y equals 4, Aiden, do you remember what kind of line that is?
It's a straight line.
Mhm. Horizontal line at 4. So if there's no x, you are just dealing with a horizontal line. Alright, so Esther, what kind of line would you give me? A vertical, but what would I have to do before I could graph it?
Minus 2x.
Okay.
0.
Okay. So that would give me 6 equals negative 2x, and then to get x by itself, we'd have to,
Divide by 2.
so we get negative 3 equals x, or x equals negative 3. So then we would have a vertical line at negative 3. And what is the slope of a vertical line, by the way?
Undefined.
Undefined, and a horizontal line is
0.
0. Okay, so if it's just x equals a number, that's a vertical line. Y equals a number is a horizontal line. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Intercepts. Jetta, can you tell me how to find an x-intercept?
Don't you like replace the y with 0?
Yes, you did. Good job. So it's asking where the graph would hit the x-axis, so we are going to go to our equation, plug in a 0 for our y. So negative 5x equals 20. divide the negative 5, so x is negative 4. What would that be as an ordered pair? Negative 4, 0. Alright, Riley, how do we find a y-intercept? Sorry, I went back on this problem. How do I find the y-intercept of that? Mm-hmm. Right. You're plugging in a 0 for your x. So that 5 goes away. So we have 2y equals 20. Divide by 2, so y is 10. So the point would be 0, 10. Okay, you guys need to do the second one here. Find x and y intercept, write them as ordered. So x-intercept, that means my y is 0. So we get 12x equals 8. When you divide by 12, go ahead and make sure it's in lowest terms, so that reduces to 2/3. So the point would be 2/3 comma 0. X was 2/3, y was 0. Y-intercept, if x is 0, we have negative 15y equals 8. Divide by negative 15. So again, check, does an 8 over 15 reduce? No, so that stays, so the ordered pair x was 0, y is negative 8 over 15. Are there questions on any of those? Okay. I wanted to talk about something on your study guide. So questions 12 and 13. There's some multiple choice questions on this review, and you will have some on your tests that are multiple choice like that, because at the end of this class we have to take the EOC, and that has a lot of multiple choice questions similar to these. So these were questions that were taken from a previous EOC. So I just wanted to talk through one of them together and just make sure we did okay. So if we looked at problem 12, for instance. Okay, it is asking you to write your equation. So if you look at this, your graph has a y-intercept of what? Everybody should have their study guide out now, looking at question 12. If you want my help, get out your study guides. If you don't want me to review with you, we can take the test right now. Okay, what is the y-intercept of this graph? 4. The graph that was given had a y-intercept of 4. Okay, to find your slope, you had to find another nice point on your graph, which looked like 4, 2 was a point. So if you count your slope, rise over run, we go down to over 4, and we get negative 1/2. So our equation is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. Does that match any of these answer choices? No. So we have to figure out, how am I going to get from here to there? And there's really two options. We can work with this equation and try to change it, or we could just come over here and change these to y equals mx plus b4. Okay, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to work from the answer choices or try to do something to this equation? Work from the answers. When I was looking yesterday, that's what most people did. So on A, if I'm trying to write that y equals mx plus b form, we would subtract our 2x's. And that gives us y equals negative 2x plus 4. Okay, it has the correct y-intercept, but is my slope right? No. So So that one is not going to work. Is B going to work? Can you tell right away? You might if you notice our coefficients are similar. So if I subtract my 2x, negative y equals negative 2x plus 4, what would you have to do now?
Divide negative one.
Divide by negative 1. So that's a positive 2x minus 4. Okay, we're still getting that 2x because we had a 2x and a y. So is that what I wanted?
No.
No. Alright, so C. Let's try that one. If I were working here, I would subtract my x first. So 2y equals negative x plus 8. Divide by 2. Negative x over 2 is negative 1/2 x plus 4. Does that one match? Yes. So, in this type of scenario, if I give you those multiple choice and the answers are written in standard form, which is not how we wrote it, work from your answer choices. Okay, you don't necessarily have to go in order. You know, if you looked at it and said, oh, I think C or D might be right, you're welcome to start there, but work backwards from your answer choices. All right, so now, I have a couple review problems I want you guys to try.